We have the Happier Wealth people. These guys are financial planners with a combined experience of about 60 years in financial planning. They have multiple designations, which means they really understand the full life cycle of people's planning for wealth, planning for retirement, and protecting people's assets. And we're going to talk to them a little bit today about retirement. This is a big topic that obviously every single one of us have to think about, whether we're on track or not on track for retirement. And so the first thing I want to do is kind of punt the question over to Tyler and ask, Tyler, how much do you need to have saved for retirement?
Or how much you need to have really depends on how much you want to spend. If you want to spend more in retirement, you're going to need to have more. If you want to retire earlier, you're going to need to be saving more. I think a general rule of thumb is about 20% of income. If you could be stocking that away, then you're going to be on track for retirement. Again, it's going to depend on when you actually want to retire and what that looks like. What becomes really difficult is when you build out your lifestyle and you get the largest mortgage you can qualify for based on your income, and then you're paying off debts and buying new cars and doing all these things that your new income allows you to do. If you don't build that savings in, it becomes very difficult to pull those expenses back and get that savings started later. So the earlier you can start that 20% savings, the better on track you're going to be for retirement.
I've heard a lot about the idea of a 4% rule, that you can pull 4% of a investment package out every single year and be pretty good. Is that a real thing? Is that a good rule of thumb?
There's been multiple studies done, and it varies. 3 to 4% is the number that they say is the safe amount that you could pull from your corpus in retirement and make sure that that money outlasts you, which is our goal, right? We want our money to outlast us for obvious reasons. And I would go back to what Tyler said on the rule of thumb on the 20%. If you're saving 20% and you start when you're in your 20s, you're probably overkill. If you're saving 20% and you really haven't started saving for retirement until you're 55 and you want to retire in 10 years, that's not going to be enough. If you're in your 30s and you're starting normal and you have matches, 20% is great. So that's why working with a good financial planner helps. But I'd say, to your point, Jonathan, the 4% rule is a good place to start. The other thing you can do is you can go onto ssa.gov and see how you're tracking in terms of your Social Security. So you can add that to your income and say, like, okay, if I can take 4% of my corpus out plus my Social Security, what is my gross income going to be, and is that going to be enough? And there's questions there that we would want to go into in terms of, most people think they're going to see a huge drop in how much they need or how much they're spending in retirement, and that's not always true. Sure, a lot of times our goal is to have our house paid off, and that helps. But they forget that usually part of their mortgage is they're paying for their homeowner's insurance, and then they're paying their taxes, and those two things aren't going to go away in retirement. And then the other thing that we see happening in retirement is people's medical costs go up, right? And so a lot of times we're not seeing the huge drop that people think they're going to see when they're entering retirement.
One of the things I really like about you guys is the happier wealth, right? This isn't about greedier wealth. It's not about amassing wealth. It's about living a better life, making sure that you have the resources that you need to essentially accomplish what you want in life. And I love that. I love that about your name and what you guys stand for. So I want to thank you for your time today. Really appreciate it.
Thanks, Jonathan.